Welcome back to the How We Can Heal podcast. Today, I'm excited to welcome Lucja Leonard to the show. Lucja Leonard is an ultra runner, adventurer, and globetrotter. She hasn't always been an ultra athlete. She's gone from taking on the challenge to run her first ultra in 2013 to now running 100, 200, and even 300-mile races all around the world. She's a running coach and takes inspiration from helping others to achieve the impossible. Lucja and Dion, our last guest on the show, are married and living with Gobi, whose story has become an inspiration for people all around the world. Today, we talk about her very recent 300-mile race, how ultra running helped her build deep confidence and a healthy relationship to food and her body, and how events like these challenge us to ask for the specific supports we need to get through hard times. Please join me in welcoming Lucja Leonard to the show. Welcome, Lucja Leonard, to the How We Can Heal podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you.
And I'm really excited to talk to you because you just finished something monster. You just completed a 300-mile race across the Arizona desert and Mexico, right? How do you feel? How's your body? How's your mind? Tell us about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's absolutely crazy when you think about it. It's like 300 miles. I mean, who even does that? It just blows my mind. I can't even get my head around the fact that I finished. I mean, it was like 5 days ago now that I finished. And yeah, I think today I'm finally feeling alert. The last few days I've just been like in this brain fog of like sleep deprivation and yeah, sore legs, sore feet, just yeah, all the aches and pains. And yeah, today I finally feel human, and it's kind of starting to yeah, sort of sink in that, oh my God, you just did that.
You
Like,
just did that and you look amazing. I wouldn't know. You don't look like you're suffering, there's no way. I'm so amazed by the human
oh.
body and by you and by everyone who attempts even these distances because they are mind-boggling. Most people don't even want to drive 300 miles.
Trying to tell people, like I've told a few people that I've seen, like, oh yeah, I just ran 300 miles. They're like, oh wow. And it's like, no, like 300 miles, like it's not, oh wow, like it's, you can't even, like people can't even comprehend it. So they just kind of, yeah, ignore it, I think.
I have noticed myself since I started ultra running, and I've never done a 300-mile race, but I have noticed myself while driving, looking at maybe an exit sign, and it's like, okay, you've got, 30 more miles to your destination, and I'm maybe tired, and I'm like, oh, that's like another 30 plus minutes on the freeway, and oh, I need to go to sleep. And then I think, I've run that before. you
Yeah.
know? So I think I'll be all right. I think I could drive it, right? I think I could stay awake. Obviously not pushing past like, when we need to sleep, we need to sleep. But yeah, it's so amazing. I think the question on a lot of non-runners' minds is why? Like why? But let's back up before why ultra running at all. Like why this race? What was it about it that called you to it?
Well, I think the fact that it was 300 miles, like I've done 200, I've done 240. And when they brought this race out and it was 300, I was like, I've got to do it. Like, I've got to do it just to say I've done 300 miles, which is just stupid in itself. But also, I really love Arizona. We've spent quite a bit of time in Arizona, and it was going through Tucson, which is one of our favorite places. And so, yeah, it really called to me from that sense. So yeah, I'd signed up before I could even really think about it properly.
If you think about it too much, you start to go, oh no, why? There's no real reason I need to do this. But if you follow that spark of inspiration, that's like, oh, for me, it was always, I don't know if I can do that. I want to try. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not sure I can go that far, but hey, sounds like fun. And I think all of that's important, and Deanna and I talked about this too, that like, if you don't want it, then there's no point, right? If there's not something in you that's going, ooh, this or that challenge. And for some of us, like you and I, it manifests on the trail sometimes of, I'm speaking in your voice now. I've done 240. Ooh, what's the next benchmark? Like if I've completed that, maybe something at some point in my life I never thought I could do. What else could I do? Right? Does it come
exactly.
up that way for you?
Oh, absolutely. And for me, I grew up being rather unfit, definitely not into sports. I used to forge sick notes from my parents to get out of sports class.
Yes.
To go to being an ultra runner and yeah, just being every time amazed at my body because, I've had, like most women growing up in the 80s and 90s, a lot of body image issues and really hating my body to going to a point where I am so proud of my body and what it can accomplish. I am strong and fearless, and I'm able to do these things that seem impossible. And even in my head, sometimes you're like, this is impossible, but you're able to achieve it. And just that sense of accomplishment and the empowerment you get from doing that, like I think that's what keeps me going back for more. Because during the race, you're just like, why am I out here? This is ridiculous. I should just book a holiday to Barbados and lay on the beach like normal people do. But no, I'm out here in 90-degree heat, like sleep deprived and wishing I was somewhere else. But there's something about it that just, yeah,
There really
really,
is.
really ticks those boxes and has you coming back for more. So,
It does. It's so magical and mysterious in that way, right? I did the Tahoe Rim Trail, the 50-mile race, which was
mhm.
a single loop. I think now there's the double loop for the 100-mile, and I'm like, anyone who signs up for that, just wow. But my partner and I did the 50-mile race, and I remember being up at the top of the ridge around Lake Tahoe and looking down at the lake and seeing the lights and people, I'm like, they're watching movies and eating popcorn and getting ready for bed. And why I'm out here, right? But now when I go to Tahoe, I look up at that ridge and I have this thirst. I'm like, ooh, I want to be back out there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll sign up for that race again. And it's so interesting because it is hard, right? There's no way around running any amount of distance, depending on, your genetics and your training and all that, like it's going to be challenging. There's going to be moments where you're like, why am I doing this? But then, you finish the 240 and you sign up for the 300. So do you have a sense of what that is for you, that thirst or that connection or that wanting to get back out there? I know it's 5 days out from your 300-mile race, so you might not be really connected to this feeling right now, and that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it when I was out there because like before the race, I don't know, I want to get to that point of suffering for some strange reason, like getting to that point where you're questioning all your life's decisions as to why you are now currently out here in this situation. And I want to feel that pain. I want to be broken down. Like I want to be vulnerable and I want to come into a checkpoint absolutely broken and in tears and rebuild. And it's like, I really love that process of almost like a rebirth while you're out there because you get broken down to your absolute bare bones, and then you have to rebuild yourself. And it was funny to hear my friends actually say, who were crewing me, they said during the race, they sort of saw me go through this process. And towards the last 100 miles, I was just like so chilled, nothing could phase me. Like I was just so zen about everything. And it was like, yeah, I'd gone into the hole, I'd come back out. And yeah, I think for me, it was like beforehand, it's like I want to get to that point. When you hit that point, it's so horrible that you just want to get out of it. But there's
Mm,
no way to get out of it apart from going through it, unless, of course, you quit, which is not an option. So,
yeah, yeah.
and yeah, I think for me, it really is. I just love how it makes me feel afterwards as well. Just that whole feeling of accomplishment and taking on the world. And I think it really balances me out. Like I feel like I'm less stressed now, because life stresses just get in the way. And has a real way of just cleansing your soul,
Mm,
I guess, and yeah, rebalancing you back to like an equilibrium and ready to move on again. Yeah, and I find that every time after a race, like no matter how brutal it is, it just knocks you down and then you come back and you're refreshed and you're like a new person, like a butterfly, yeah, I think it's just fantastic. And yeah, for me, it's really helped me just overcome everything in terms of my confidence and, body image issues and all of that. And yeah, I just find that it just helps propel me forward every time. So yeah, I just love getting to that point of the suffering, which is strange, but I think it's because we don't, I'm very privileged. I have a good life. I'm not in a life where I'm suffering. I have good health. I have a good partner. We're comfortable, but there's something about having to suffer that, yeah, I think is part of a human nature, that we need that to move forward. So yeah, if you're not getting that in day-to-day life, I think a lot of us go seeking for it, which is why, there was 330 people that signed up for this race, because we're all crazy and all want to try this out. So yeah.
There's so much in what you're saying, that soul cleansing element of it. I can relate to that. And I remember feeling like there was this containment of, well, when I'm out on the trail, I also don't have to deal with the stressors of daily life. I just need to focus on hydration and food and one foot in front of the other and enjoying the landscape and talking to people or listening to music or doing whatever I was doing to ideally for me, like enjoy it. So I have a little bit of a different perspective. I think I wasn't seeking the suffering so much, but I was like, definitely relate to that cleansing element of it. And also accepting the hard parts and not know, like working with the hard parts. Well, how do I relate to that? Do I think, oh, it's hard at mile 30, which means I'm not going to finish 50 miles? No, like, oh, it's hard right now. What do I need? Let me give myself that and then keep going. Right. And so I'm curious for you. And a lot of times on this show, we talk about trauma and recovery and that rebuilding. And you were just talking about that rebuilding on the trail. So I'm wondering what, once you hit that point where it's suffering and it's hard, and part of you maybe wants to quit, there's one thing you said, which is quitting's not an option. And I think having that really strong within you matters, right? When you really want to finish the race, it's different than like, oh, I'm just going out. We'll see what happens. And there
Yes.
are times, Dion and I talked about this too. There are times to call it like it's not this
Yeah.
priority today.
Mhm.
But when you are committed and you're in it and you hit that low, what are some of the things you find that help you through that to the other Zen side for the, I love this, last 100 miles of the race? Like you're just coasting in, right? Just coasting in those last hundo. No
Yeah.
big deal.
Well, I think it changes, I think, every race that you do as well. But, for this race in particular, I had four amazing women that came to support me. They'd taken time off work, they'd made their own way to the race as well. So for me, I couldn't quit for them either. They were there for the whole week. So it's like I have to do it for them as well. So yeah, it's having that in the back of your mind. At times, they would also read out some messages that people had been sending on Instagram. I had, like, one of my friends is a teacher, and her class had sent a video cheering me on, and they had posters and everything. And, I'm just like, I can't let down a group of kids in a classroom. Like, that would be so wrong. Like, these kids are being inspired by seeing what I'm doing. So I have to show them that I'm stronger than that. So yeah, I have to just carry on. And I think sometimes you have to just let out your emotions. Like, it was probably,
Yes.
was it 120, 130 miles in, and we'd climbed Mount Lemon, which was like a 7,000-foot climb. And it was in the heat of the sun. It was like baking hot, but also freezing cold at the same time, because there was this really cold wind coming through and there was snow on the ground. But I was like cooking and I was in thermals, but I'm cold and I'm just like so tired. And the checkpoint was just not coming. And then when it finally did come, like I just burst into tears. I was just like so spent emotionally from getting up that climb. And then it was just having to rebuild from there. It was like, okay, now you're ruined, so to speak. It's like, just let's sit down, let's cool down, let's eat some food, drink some drink. And then I had all my friends like telling me how amazing I was doing. And suddenly you're just like, okay, I'm good again. Half an hour later, you're like, okay, let's go. Let's do this next section. And yeah, it's kind of funny how you can actually rebuild and recover on the way, because you actually get to a point where you think, oh, I'm so broken, like I'm going to stay like this now for the next 200 miles. And it's like, actually, you're not. You're going through waves. It's like you said, at 30 miles, you might be broken, thinking, oh, I can never get to 50. But then suddenly you're back up. And then, yeah, if you go further, it's like, yeah, you go down again and then you go back up. So, yeah, it is really about just, yeah, trying to rebuild along the way and recover and, yeah, overcome as you're through it. So, and I guess that's a bit like life, when you are in the situation, it's like it's not normally an end point to what you're going through, whether that's stress or trauma or whatever. It kind of gradually changes and improves, and then it may lessen again and improve again, but it is just a roller coaster all the time. So, yeah, I think ultra running is really just life, but just in a shortened space of time. So,
Concentrated life, right? It's
yeah, yeah, exactly.
concentrated into a few days' time, but yeah, all the ups and downs are there. And you mentioned social accountability, having people that know what you're doing and know about the goal and who are inspired with you, for you, who you
Mm,
don't want to let down, right? That keeps you going. But also this element of getting through something really hard, being very broken down, and then rebuilding and taking that moment. Okay, I'm going to eat. You have the checkpoint. I'm going to eat, I'm going to drink, I'm going to talk to my friends. Oh, look, I have some energy. And I think just like you were saying in life, when we're going through a really hard time, it can feel like it's going to last forever. And you can think, oh, if I'm at mile 120, well, I've got another 180 miles to go. I'm 20 years old. If I live to be 90, the rest of my life is going to be torture, right? Like we do these narratives where we think, especially when we're at our most challenging points, that those feelings are going to endure forever, right? And that's not necessarily the truth. And sometimes if we get that break and get some nourishment, some encouragement, some genuine support and connection, it's like, oh, I actually do feel different. Or get some, I know in this case, in ultra running, you don't always get this, but get some good sleep, right? Like even a micro nap on an ultra trail
yeah,
can be huge. I've heard people say they slept for 10 seconds. It felt like 10 hours, right? So
yeah, yeah,
like there are ways that we can, take what we need, continue on. And it doesn't mean that, oh, now that I went to this rest stop, I feel 100%. I'm 120. Like it's still effort and it's still hard, but that's very much like life. There's always something, right? And I think our minds can be like, we want it to be perfect, right? It's got to be perfect and everything has to flow together. It's like, well, maybe just continue on and ride the wave. So that sounds like one of those life lessons that can come out of doing something wild like this.
yeah. And if everything was perfect, like, I think about a few other races that I've done that have gone without any hiccups or, and probably talking shorter races, but they're not memorable. The races you remember are the ones that have the tough moments. And it's a bit like life as well. If there weren't tough moments, you're not going to enjoy the good moments either. So, yeah, I think it's important to have that contrast as well. So, as much as it hurts at the time.
And there's something about being there for all of it, like not resisting. There, suffering is a part of life. I know that's like in some religions or Buddhism, it's a tenet of it, right? Like this is part of living. And if
Yeah.
we resist that, we can narrow our scope so then we're not really feeling anything that much anymore. So it sounds like for this race, you really dove right in, right? You
Yeah.
got the full vicissitudes of life between the, oh my God, I'm really broken down, and then to where you are now of just feeling accomplished and being able to rest after and celebrate and share that accomplishment. How did the classroom react when they knew that you finished? Have you seen anything?
No, I have spoken to my friend, and yeah, they were super excited. They were following the dot every morning. They'd come in, they'd check in online, and yeah, follow my dot. So they were super excited to see me finish. So yeah, that's great.
And did you sleep at all on the trail? Did you get any rest?
I probably had about, I want to say about 3.5 to 4 hours sleep over the 4 nights. So I probably had three 1 hour sleeps in the back of the car. So that felt like heaven. And yeah, I had a couple of trail naps where it's quite funny. One of my friends videoed me getting down for a trail nap, and I just saw some grass and I just dumped myself in there, and it was really spiky grass, but to me I was just like, that looks so comfortable. I'm in there. And she's like, before you can even say I'll set the timer for 2 minutes, I was already snoring. So yeah, it was it's amazing how you can sleep anywhere. Like I'm normally a really light sleeper and I need the right pillow, I need the right temperature. Yeah, get me on a trail and I'm sleep deprived, I'm like, I will sleep on cactuses. I'm just like, oh, this is so good.
This is amazing. I remember in the middle of the night, the first 100 miler I attempted, and I was hearing coyotes howl.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, coyotes, soft fur. They sound so
Yeah,
snuggly. Maybe if I see some, I can curl up with them. It's like you get a little delusional at points too. Like, ooh, that would be nice. I could just curl up with coyotes before I run another 40 miles.
exactly. Yeah, we heard some of them calling out, and my friend who was pacing me told me later she was absolutely shitting herself thinking we were going to get attacked by coyotes. And I was just like, oh, it's such a nice melody.
It sounds so pretty. And your friend's like, "Ah, terror," which just goes to show we can have very different experiences of the same stimuli, right? Like, oh, that's so soothing. Oh my God, that's terrifying. Yeah. So, how did you initially get into trail running? You mentioned that you didn't grow up really, into sports, getting notes to get out of sports in class and things like that. How did this start
Yeah.
for you?
Well, I'd gotten myself a little overweight. So at one point, I was shopping for clothes and had to go nearly to the big girls shop, which, talking 20 odd years ago, they didn't have all the sizes in the shops. You had to shop in a separate shop. So, yeah, that kind of hit home to me. I was like, I need to do something about it. So I started going to the gym and just, watching what I was eating, like just being a bit healthier, and started to lose some weight and started to go out for, little run walk scenarios and thought I would sign up for a 10K race and, went along and did that. It was a road race and I was so nervous and was worried about coming dead last or not finishing. But I had like so much fun because everyone was so buzzy and full of energy. And yeah, from there, I just kind of started entering some half marathons. And slowly but surely, I started meeting some people who ran on the trails who invited me to go out with them.
Mhm.
And I just remember some of those first ones. I just had no idea what I was doing. Even simply hiking up a mountain with some of my friends, I'd just go in shorts and a shirt and they'd be like, oh, have you got a jacket and gloves? Because, we're going up
Yeah.
3,000 feet. And it's like, oh, no, what do I need that for? So, I learned the hard way as well as to what you need to take. And yeah,
Yeah.
just really enjoyed being out there. And, just entering my first ultra marathon was actually through Dion, my husband. He bought me a book for my birthday, which was a coffee table book of the world's toughest endurance challenges. And this was after I'd been running a few marathons and things. And he'd said, open the book up and the first thing your finger falls upon, we'll go and do. Because my birthday's right before Christmas. So it was like, that was your birthday present. Your Christmas present is whatever you choose. So yeah, that ended up being the Kalahari Extreme Marathon in South Africa, which was a multi-stage race over a week. So 6 stages, and you're basically running a marathon a day. And one day you run two marathons, so a 50-mile day. And to make it even harder, it's fully self-sufficient. So you're carrying a pack with all your food and kit to survive the week. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 7 days, sleeping bag, sleeping mat, change your clothes. So, your bag's about 20 to 30 pounds as well. And the only thing the race gives you is water along the way, kind of every 10K. And at night time, they'd give you like a bit of tarpaulin to sleep under out in the wild. So, yeah, we went out there having no idea what we were doing, just kind of got kitted out by some ultra running store and went out there. And, we just had the most amazing experience. Like, the people that you run with, like connecting with these people that are all out there doing the same thing, becoming like family, and running with like giraffes running beside you and springbok, and then seeing baboons. And oh, it was just mind blowing. Like I'd never had that kind of adventure before. And yeah, to me, it really felt like an adventure. And crossing that finish line was just amazing. And I'd actually come second female at my first ever race. So I was like, oh my God, maybe I'm actually okay at this stuff. Maybe longer distance is more my thing. I'm not a fast runner. And yeah, kind of from there, it just sparked this interest in going to sign up for. I've always been excited by whatever has a high DNF rate.
Yes.
So I do not finish rate. If I hear a race that's tough, I'm like, oh, I want to do that. So
Ah,
yeah. And even if that means I might not finish, it's kind of like okay, I might not finish the first time, but I'm going to go back and do it again until I finish it. So yeah, I really like the hard stuff. And yeah, that kind of just developed this love for ultra running and trails. So yeah, kind of turned into this mountain goat and really love the mountains.
yes. I have to ask, do you feel interested by Barkley Marathon? For those who don't know Barkley Marathon, it's basically a scramble through the brambles. Like it has all this culture around it, but it's off the, you have to navigate yourself. You have to people often DNF that. So I'm just curious if that's something that calls to you, because I personally have my limits. I'm like, I like the hard stuff, and then no, not that though.
Yeah, no, that just seems like pure torture.
Yeah,
And
right. Exactly.
I
Okay.
mean, I like to have type 2 fun, and I don't think that that's going to be type 3 and above. Yeah, I don't think there's any fun in that race at all. And it's purely like it's not running. It needs so much navigation. It's like I don't mind a bit of simple navigation, but yeah,
Yeah.
that race is not for me. I mean, there's only been one female finisher, so guaranteed to DNF. And I'm
Yeah.
just no, it's
Yeah,
not
I
my.
think this year there were no finishers across the board, right? It's so yeah, and hats off to people who want to and attempt that, and to Jasmine Paris for finishing that. That was incredible. I have those pictures, I think, by Howie Stern just etched in my mind, right? Like, oh, wow, what an accomplishment. But yeah, you have to want it. And that
Yeah.
moment when you open the book and your finger lands on this race in, did you say it was in South Africa?
Yeah.
Your finger lands on this race in South Africa, and it's multi marathons. Like, that's very different than a half marathon, right? That's very different than something you show up in the morning, you get a good, oh, I got a great start to my weekend here,
Yeah.
right? This is multiple days, it's an adventure. I'm wondering, there's a moment there where you decided and you committed to it, where you could have gone, oh, let's turn the page again, or you could have gone, oh, that's nice. Let's do something else. Let's go to Barbados and sit on the beach instead. What do you feel like it was in you that really committed to that race and went through with it?
Yeah, I don't know if it was maybe like some sort of sense of adventure and also a sense of proving that I can do hard things. Like I consider myself, I'm quite a soft person. Like I love my creature comforts and I think yeah, just reading about it and wondering, can I put myself out there and do something like this? That they're tough races. You hear people die doing some of these races. It can be really dangerous. And I think that really called to me in a way of just excitement and adventure. And yeah, I think it was me coming out of my shell, and I'd never like pushed myself to those sorts of limits before, always been very softly. And I think, yeah, doing that also combined at the time with, my career kind of taking off as well, because that built confidence, which then comes into your everyday life as well. And yeah, I think it was, I don't know, something just sparked in me, just thinking, wow, like, could you imagine? Like, could I ever really? Could I, the fat girl, do that? Like, really? It's just, yeah, I think it was just that whole thought of maybe I could, like, maybe I should give it a try. Yeah, that was it really.
I'm curious about that confidence and your journey with it. How do you feel like the experiences on the trail shape your sense of self and maybe your belief in yourself, your self esteem, your sense of confidence?
Yeah, I think it's just it's almost like practice makes perfect, doesn't it? And sort of, faking it till you make it. It's like when you go to these races, you have to have some sort of confidence to make it to the end. And, to begin with, I didn't have that confidence, and I would just pretend that I had the confidence. And every time I turn up at a start line, like I'd look around me, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so out of my depth. Like everyone looks so fit and so experienced. And there's me. Like, what am I doing here? Just imposter syndrome at its worst. And I think just every race that I finished, I just started to believe more in myself. And, I'm not just finishing these races. I'm not on the podium by any stretch normally. But I'm normally in the sort of top third. So for me, that's really good. Like you're not back of the pack, you're like a solid middle of the pack, edging towards the front there. And you're just this girl from way back when who didn't even like sports. And I think every time I achieved these things, it just was another building block of confidence and, the problem solving you have to do along the way to get through these races and, coming back and rebuilding and changing your training to make yourself stronger and learning more about yourself. And I really feel like I've become so in tune with my body, whether that's just day to day or it's out in a race, but I really understand what's going on with my body. And yeah, it's just built me up to be really confident and happy with myself. So yeah, it's taken years though, but yeah.
Years and a lot of miles.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a slow progression, isn't it? And even sometimes I catch myself and I'll see like a reflection of myself in a mirror or walking past a shop. I'm like, oh wow, she looks like a runner. It's like, oh, that's me. Yay, I
Yeah.
look like a runner. So
You've mentioned weight management through movement and diet and exercise, which just a healthy lifestyle is so important for all of us. And then there's this edge also of body positivity, of like being proud of that you're strong, right? So I'm just hearing that edge of, and I'm thinking about it for so many people. It's like, how do I encourage myself to make choices that maybe are hard and maybe have a growing edge without that being a point of shame against my body? Like, do you get what I'm trying to articulate here? There's something in there about doing something healthy and getting strong and being proud of your body and connected to your body with while letting go of that 80s 90s, and it perpetuates, right? But that toxic influence of, this is what a body looks like, and this is a good looking body, and this is a quote unquote pretty woman, or this is, right, all these different messages we get that are so deeply ingrained in our culture. How do you feel like running has helped you tease that out and come to a place of, it's always dynamic, it's always ongoing, but come to a place of feeling good in your skin?
yeah, well, I think in the whole running community, and particularly trail running, more so than road running, but when you're out there, you're surrounded by all different body shapes and different abilities, different ages, different ethnicities. Like, and I think that really is a balancing thing. Like, you could be at the start line, and I'll be looking at someone thinking, oh, wow, they're super strong, super skinny. They're going to be ahead of me. And then they'll end up finishing hours behind me. And you start to think, well, actually, the fact that I have some fat on my body and I'm a bit bigger is actually good in the endurance world, because I've got something to draw on when I'm out there for 100 miles plus. Like, I'm drawing on reserves that other people don't have. So, I always like to think, the first 100 miles, I might be back a fair way, but then I start to come through the field because I'm just like a locomotive. I just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, that's really built that up in my head. And, as you're going through the race and you're sitting there with other people and running with other people, and you're seeing all their different shapes and sizes, and we're all strong people, and it doesn't matter what size you are when you're out there. And yeah, I think that's really helped in balancing that as well. And being out there and knowing that you have to eat, you have to drink, like you can't restrict things. And, even in the training side of things, like I used to go out for 20-mile runs and try not to eat, because it's like, well, then I can burn more calories, right? Um,
Mm.
Whereas now it's thinking, no, you have to eat, because you need to do the second 10 miles as a good training run, like the first 10 miles, and you can't do that if you don't eat. So, yeah, it's having that whole mind shift into, food is good for the body, and just, yeah, having that all around you. I think just all the different shapes and sizes, because yes, you can be skinny and strong as well, but you can be big and strong as well, and everything in between, like everything's okay. Whereas, yeah, I think the media like to project one certain body type. Yeah, whereas now it seems to be opening up, especially I just find in ultra running, it's so open with
Yeah.
everything that I just find that really welcoming and really encouraging as well. So, yeah.
Ultra running, the community, I think, maybe because people have been out on the trail and done the digging that you're talking about within themselves and found those difficult edges and seen just how you figure out how you relate to yourself and how you relate to support. And I think doing some of that work, it's not sitting on a therapy couch, but it's very effective for getting to know yourself, right? It's a wonderful way to self-reflect and learn. And I think people do across the board feel so much more welcoming and open and supportive. And I know that's even explicit in some communities. They're really working to be increasingly inclusive and like encourage people to come out and like, look at this amazing nature you can be a part of. Look at this amazing experience you can be a part of, whether you're hiking it or running it, whether you're on the podium or you're mid pack or back a pack, like just celebrating that it's not so much a competition in that sense. Even places where there's still a podium and there's still
Yeah,
prizes, you can
yeah.
just
It's
celebrate the experience of of nature, of being together, of being out, of doing something hard, of doing something fun, and getting to know each other in the process. I feel like the trail running community is beautiful in that way.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with the competition. Like you're really just competing against yourself. And, apart from the few that are going for the podium spots, that's really what we're doing out there is we're competing against our own beliefs and our own perceptions of what's possible. And yeah, so I think, yeah, it's a great way to get to know yourself. I mean, you just touched on that briefly, but when you're out there and you get to that really low point, it's the time where you really uncover who you are as a person. And, sometimes you might not like what you see out there. And that's when you go back to your normal life and you think, right, that's where I need to make some changes, like, I try to run with joy and be happy and friendly out there. And, sometimes you think, gosh, when I'm really down, am I being that good person out there? Am I making the right decisions and being kind to others when I'm in that low place? And I think it's a really, yeah, really sort of touching place to get to where you can actually see yourself for who you truly are. And yeah, see if that needs changing.
Whole scope, right? The whole scope
Yeah.
of how we behave and how we interact with other people. I mean, I've walked by people and I try to say hi a lot of the times or smile. I'm out there and sometimes someone's just in a really grumpy space. I try to remember, like, I've been there. I've definitely been there, whether it's low blood sugar, I've just been out a long time, or I'm working through something deep. Like, there are times where someone says hi to me and I can barely manage a grunt or a
Yeah.
nod or whatever, or times where maybe I was so deep I didn't even notice, or that's probably happened. I don't know because I didn't notice then, but I try to give the benefit of the doubt to other folks. And I think that's a part of that empathy that weaves into the community is people are like, oh, that I've been there too. I can identify with that low. I'm no longer judging people who are even grumpy or snappy, right? Because they're like, oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Let's get you some food.
Exactly.
And I think relationship to food is such a big thing. I mean, as a therapist, I think a lot about with addictions, people can cut things out. If you're addicted to certain substances, even certain relationship dynamics, you can set a firm boundary and say, like, well, I don't do that anymore. We can't do that with food, right? If someone has like a relationship with food that feels like it's negative or it's going into eating disorder territory, we can't just be like, no, well, I just don't do food, I do breathing. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
the breatharians I've heard of before, I don't know how long they live, but as a rule, we need food and water to stay alive. And so working through your relationship to food, I found that to be really interesting in the trail community too. And just like in health and wellness, there's trends, right? And I see right now trending more towards, hey, fuel yourself, right? Hey, you need food while you're out there, not just for energy on the trail, but also for recovery and repair. Like if you're really trying to get better and not just burn calories, as you mentioned, if you're really trying to get better, then you need that fuel to rebuild while you're out there, to rebuild after. And that's really interesting. And there was this moment when I was training, this was when I was still at like the half marathon stage of my running journey, where something clicked in my brain. And I wouldn't have ever thought that it hadn't clicked before. I would have told you, no, like food is energy. I get that. But I was like, oh, the food is energy. Like it just clicked in a deeper way. I can't describe it better than that, where I was like, wow, exactly what I put in is impacting what I can bring out. And I've had that even recently again, right? We relearn these things millions of
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Breastfeeding my daughter for 2 years now and being like, I don't think I'm getting enough food. I'm getting super grumpy. This feels like a trail run when I need a gel. Like, okay, this was like last week. I'm not even kidding, where I'm like, I need to fuel myself better. I'm, having protein shakes or chia packs or eating the rest of my daughter's food. Like that doesn't count as breakfast. Right? So how am I going to actually fuel myself? I think that's a beautiful conversation that can come out of trail running where in relationship to body image and body positivity, it's also just like having that relationship to food that's like, what's really intuitively too, what's going to fuel me? What do I go up to an aid station when they have more than water? When I go
Yeah.
to an aid station and I see something and it just looks like the right thing, how do I learn how to trust that? How do I learn the boundaries around what's really not good for me, even when it does look good? So there's so much nuance to it, right? In terms of just getting to know yourself and refining that essential element of life. Like, how do I have energy?
Yeah.
Right? I have energy to do the things I want to do.
Yeah. And also, like, I think it's dangerous to think of food as just fuel, because I think that's coming out a little bit now as well. That it's like, well, it is just fuel, I just eat to get fuel. And it's like, but it should also be a source of enjoyment, like I've loved nothing better than coming home and Dion had got me this amazing celebration cake. And, eating like slab after slab of this cake has been absolutely divine. And going out, we had a celebration lunch with my friends, and it was just, also just having food to enjoy and as part of, connecting with people and, building relationships over food, I think is also just so important. And yeah, I think a lot of that's missed these days as well, because yeah, everyone's like rushing around or they're on their phones or they're, worried about how much they're eating. It's like, no, you got to live life as well. Like go out and have the meals, go out and eat the ice cream. Like it's all part of it, makes you
Yeah.
happy.
The things that you enjoy, like really giving yourself the things you enjoy. And I've heard people coming out of eating disorders saying that too, of like, oh, wait, this isn't just a measurement, right? And even as athletes, even if we can go in that direction of like, and I don't do this so much myself, but I see it around where it's like this many grams of this and that many grams of that. Just
Yeah.
choke it back, even if you don't like it. And I'm like, no, no, I gotta want it. There was a season I was training for Boston Marathon. I just wanted lemon. I was like, lemonade, lemon, just go with it. Like
Yeah.
you need the energy, find it in a form that you enjoy. And then
Mhm.
yeah, the celebratory cake, right? And
Yeah.
the social and cultural elements of food. Like I think we can get far away from that when we get too scientific about it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing better than like some of my paces would have a surprise snack on the trail for me, like, a little chocolate bar or something that was just like, yay, that's something I didn't have. Great, I'll eat that.
Something novel, right? Something that's
Yeah.
a gift, that's a treat. Yes.
Yeah.
So trail running has become such a part of your life, right? Dion's an ultramarathoner. He met Gobi out on the trail, who's a part of your family. You're coaching as well. How is that for you as a family? It seems like it's pretty integrated into your lifestyle to be doing events and to be challenging
Yeah.
yourselves in these ways.
Well, I mean, it's great to have a partner that understands as well. I've got friends and worked with clients as well where their partners don't support them. And, it's so hard when they don't understand what you're going through, what you need to go through to get these races done as well. So, yeah, that's become really important. And we both understand from each other, like, you need to get out to get this training done. And, it's about making time for that as well, and making each other go out and do the training, because sometimes you're on different schedules. Like at the moment, I'm relaxing, but Dion's out doing a 15-mile run right now, and he needs to go and do that. And he already missed it on Saturday because I wanted to have Bloody Marys for breakfast. And so it's like you can't sabotage each other because of, you're going through a different process. So it's about supporting each other in that as well. And yeah, I think that's really important, to understand that. And if your partner's not into it, it's trying to maybe get them to come along and see what happens at these races, to understand how deep you're having to dig as well, and why the training's so important. And yeah, but it has definitely become, it's part of our lives, and I guess it will be for a long time to come yet. But yeah, I think it's a healthy thing as well. I love going out for runs with Dion as well. So it means we can share in it together. Being fit and healthy, when you go somewhere, you can go and climb a mountain and look at the views. And it doesn't always have to be about running, but I think by doing the running, we're fit and healthy. That enables us to go and, yeah, do some other experiences that you might not do if we were, still back where we were smoking and drinking too much, that you wouldn't have those experiences. So yeah, I think it's lovely to have that as part of our life. And, coaching people as well. I actually coached a guy called Travis who also finished the Arizona Monster.
Hey.
Yeah, so that was amazing. Like the feeling of, yeah, just accomplishment from getting him across the line is also something else. He'd DNF'd Moab the year before at 67 miles, never run 100 miles before, picked up coaching with me in December, and it might have been November. I got him doing 100 miles in January, and then just coached him through until now. And yeah, he finished as well. So yeah, he had an amazing time, and he can tick that box that he's done it. So yeah, I think getting people across that line as well, not just myself, but that's also amazing. I got to share a few miles with them out there as well. So we ran together for a bit, and yeah, that is also amazing. I love seeing other people accomplish these ultras as well, and seeing what they're capable of. I've coached a few people. There's one lady in particular from Scotland. She came to me for a 50K like probably 6, 7 years ago, and since then she's now run 100 miles and a multi-stage race. And it's like, well, what's next? Can I get her to do 200? But it's she's just surpassed everything she ever thought was possible as well. And yeah, I love working with people and sharing that knowledge with them as well, because so much of it isn't just the training. You know what you need to do to run 100 miles. You just got to do the training, and you
Yeah.
can get a plan offline that will get you to the finish. But it's understanding all those other nuances of the mental side of the whole sport. So yeah, I love sharing that with people, and yeah, trying to help them understand what sort of obstacles they're going to be facing out there as well. And yeah, hopefully my knowledge and my mistakes help them make less mistakes and get to the finish as well.
Yeah. And the emotional support and the personal experience, like AI will never have that. Right.
Exactly.
AI doesn't know what it's like to get to the top of, was it Mount Lemon at the middle
Yeah.
of the night and feel broken. It might does, but it doesn't. Well, congratulations to Travis, to all the people you've been coaching who have made it through these tough things. And I'm like, sign me up. Sign me up. I actually have there was just a 50K since I've come back from maternity leave. The longest I've done has been a 30K so far. And there's a 50K that's on my radar that I haven't signed up for yet. I feel like after this conversation, I'm gonna go on the website and be like, "Ding, ding, ding."
Hey, sign up.
It's got these bridges through the Alps. Oof, that's the thing I want to, and that's the thing I'm curious about. I've never had that before. And honestly, I want to do the 100 miler. I just don't know, honestly, if it's the right thing for my body right now, because I'm still working through some postpartum niggles that I'm like, am I going to just hurt myself? Because I don't want to do that. So it's, knowing your body and knowing what's right. And sometimes that's pushing forward, sometimes that's pulling yourself back a little bit, but especially with injuries. Have you ever worked with, big injuries for yourself and had to come back from that or had to delay races?
No, not touch wood, not injuries. I've been very lucky with that. The worst I did was actually strained my groin last year doing Rio del Lago 100,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I've done that race.
I had to take a few weeks off and yeah, just kind of rehab that. But touch wood, that's kind of the biggest injury I had. I guess the worst thing I've had to overcome was I had COVID a couple of times back in 21, 22. And I remember going to Tahoe 200 in 2022 to run that. And I'd had COVID just 6 weeks before. And I must have been experiencing some sort of long COVID. And Dion had said to me, you probably shouldn't go to this race. You're not breathing well, you're not feeling well. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm going to go do it. And yeah, going there and then DNFing is
Yeah.
proving right. I shouldn't have gone. And yeah, having to overcome that. It took me like probably 18 months to get myself back on track. DNF'd another 100 in the meantime through having illness issues again arising from that. So for me, it hasn't been injury, but it's actually been like health issues. And finally getting to that point where I've figured out what I need. So yeah, now I'm on vitamin B12 and vitamin D supplements, and that seems to be my magic potion. As soon as I stop taking them, I get sick again. So I'm like, right, that's me for life. I'm on those supplements. So I don't know what it is, but yeah, that seems to work for me. So
You found what you need. Yeah.
yeah.
So those are some of the challenging moments. What are some of your favorite moments on the trail?
Wow, favorite moments. Wow. Seeing sunrises. I love sunrises. I get really bad sleepies at around 3 or 4 in the morning. And then when the sun comes up, it just feels like such a rejuvenation, like it's such a new day, and just the way the light falls on the earth, like it just, you just have to stand there sometimes and just look around. And the same with sunsets. I mean, they're just so magical when you're out in the middle of nowhere as well, just at some random spot in a trail. So yeah, definite highlights are things like that. And highlights of, generosity of people as well. I've had a couple of times in races where my head torch has failed and my backup batteries have failed, and I'm in the dark with nothing, and a runner will come past, and I'm like, "Do you have a spare head torch?" And yes, and they give it to me. I'm just like, that's just amazing. What if they need that later on? But they're, just the simple, I don't know, kindness of people of helping you. I just think that that's magical. And even on the race that we just had, I was with my pacer and we were about to come into Oak Tree Aid Station. We're about 4 miles out, run out of water. So we're probably, I don't know, I want to say 230 odd miles in, 200, no, it's probably 250 actually, it was closer. So out of water, it's 90 degrees, we're in exposed desert, and we are literally dying. And she told me afterwards she was really panicking because it's like, what are we going to do? We are out of water. There is no shade, there's no water sources. And then we saw this guy who was just picking up some trash from the trail because he'd through hiked the Arizona Trail last week. And he saw us and he was like, do you girls need some water? We're like, yes, do you have some? And he gave us like one bottle that he had on him. And we just like downed it, like we were so thirsty. And he was like, do you want more? Like, my car is literally just parked just out of this trail a bit. I could go get you some water. We're like, yes, please. And he brought us like 3 liters of water and topped us up. And it's
Oh, amazing.
trail angel. And it's like just that time and place. Like, had we been a bit quicker, we would have missed him. Had we been a bit slower, we would have missed him. And it was like it was meant to be, that he was there at that precise moment that we needed him and was willing to help. Yeah, just those moments I really love because, there's so much inhumanity out there in the world at the moment, and hate and fighting, and then you get out on these trails and everyone's just loving each other and helping each other. And yeah, I think they're all my favorite moments is that, and obviously crossing the finish line. I mean,
Sure.
that is an amazing feeling. So
Crossing the finish line and then being out there and having those moments of magic, having those moments of connection, feeling like, oh, we're supporting each other through really hard things. Again, that's life, right? To be able to have someone by your side to joke with, or have someone that's willing and able to give you their head torch or to get you some water. Or I feel like so often humans are wired to want to help each other, right? And we can forget that, and then we meet people that are like, I've got water in my car, do you want more? Sure, yeah, here you go, have it, let me top you out. It's
yeah.
such a nice feeling to connect in that way, and often it's someone we've never seen before, we might never see again, and yet there's this moment of connecting with each other and of feeling supported in a really important way, right? And we are dying out there.
Nothing, they don't want anything in return. Like, there's no, apart from a simple thank you, that's all is needed. And yeah, I think it can also be a lesson to take back to life, because a lot of the times I think people are scared to ask for help, or, or they think that they're alone. And it's like, but if you just reach out, there are people there that want to help you. You just have to sometimes, put your ego aside or whatever it is that's stopping you from asking for help, and just ask for help. You don't have to do it alone. Yeah, that's what I take from it anyway. You're not alone in anything. You just have to ask.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
such a lesson. So someone might be listening and thinking, oh, other people do this, right? Other people do 300-mile races. That's not for me. And it might be something different for each person, like the challenging or crazy thing. But what would you say to someone who's listening who's like, oh, I could never do that?
Well, just try. You just don't know what you're capable of. And it might not be 300 miles, your thing might be kayaking down a river, or whatever it might be, rock climbing, cycling. It might be running 300 miles, but just give it a try. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Is that you don't finish, or you have a horrible time and you realize it's not for you. Like, but it's all about just trying these things and having the experiences, and, just opening up, yeah, that realm of possibility. So yeah, I would just say, just give it a try, reach out and ask for some help and some guidance, and yeah, get in there, and yeah, we'll see you at the start of the next 300 miles.
Yes, I love that. What's next for you? It doesn't have to be a race because you just finished something huge, but what's next for you? Is it a period of rest? Do you have your eyes on some other experience or something professionally?
Well, I've got a 100 miler in July, so I'm doing Cascade Crest 100, which is up near Seattle, and it's a Western States qualifier and a hard rock qualifier. So I'm going to hit two birds with one stone. And then, stupidly, 3 weeks later, I have a 215-mile race across Scotland. So
Ooh.
heading back to the UK to do the race across Scotland, which is really exciting for me because I started ultra running when I moved to Scotland. So I lived in Edinburgh for 6, 7 years. So yeah, that's for me. I'm coming back full circle. I started there and now I'm going to come back and run across the country basically. So rest and relaxation now and then get back to building. This was all part of the process of building, and now I know what I need to work on, which I probably knew beforehand, but I want to get a little faster, get a little stronger. It's always those sorts of things. But yeah, trying to build and be better for next time. And yeah, I think that's exciting. Yeah, and from a personal perspective, yeah, we're reapplying for our visa, so hoping that we can stay in the US a bit longer. And yeah, so working on all those things, and yeah, just trying to keep the business going. And yeah, just excited about all of that. So we're going to have the summer in Tahoe, so that should be a good training ground.
Yes, that's great training ground. Are you going to Broken Arrow by chance?
No, no.
That's at the end of June in Tahoe. We'll be there. My partner and I and my daughter. I already signed. This is like I'm already such a ultra running mom. I already signed up my daughter for the kids race, but I'm like waitlisted. I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter what I do as long as she gets in the kids race. Of course,
Yeah.
that's the only one that doesn't sell out. But we'll be
I'll have
there
to
the
look it
last.
up. Maybe I can. There's probably sold out, I guess, but
No, so you might like the Triple Crown, which is I think vertical kilometer one day, a
mhm.
23 kilometer the next, or maybe a 46 the next day, and then a 23 the next day. I mean, that's like cake for you. That's like a morning jog, you know? But you might
Yeah,
really, it's a great community. You might really love that. I'd love to see you guys if we end up at the same race. You mentioned Western States and Hard Rock, and I have
yeah.
to say, my daughter's done all the kids' races for both of those already, as well as UTMB. I can't believe I better not go in this direction too hard, but I was like, we got to get her in the UTMB race. Yeah, she's done all of those under the age of 2. I haven't done any. Well, I've done ETC at UTMB, the short one, and
Oh
then,
yeah.
mad respect for the longer ones because that was plenty. And I haven't done Western States or Hard Rock, but I do have the interest in Hard Rock. I get it. Like that one, I would love to do. So if you do get the Western States Hard Rock qualifier and end up back out here or in Colorado, let us know because we might be there too.
Yeah. Well, I'm a few years deep into applying, so hopefully my chances keep improving every year. So yeah,
Yes.
wait and see. But yeah, maybe I'll see you at Broken Arrow then. I'll have a look into that.
Yeah, look it up and look up the Triple Crown. They also have an Iron Face one where you actually are climbing part of it. I don't know if that's your thing. That's kind of where I drew the line. I was like, oh, I'd like to be on my feet.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really a climber, but we could have a look at that.
And can you tell us how is Gobi these days?
She's good. She's good. She came out and saw me. Dion surprised me. I think it was about halfway. So, yeah, he came out and said hi, and I saw Gobi. So that was a real boost as well. And yeah, she's doing good. So she's happy.
That's awesome. So if people want to connect with you and follow your journey, what is the best place to do that?
Probably on Instagram. Running Dutchie on Instagram is kind of where I do most of my posting. I'm on Facebook and TikTok as well as Running Dutchie, but yeah, Instagram's my most used platform for sure. So
And do
yeah.
you often go out with Dion and Gobi to speak as well?
Yes, yeah. So we do a lot of author visits at schools because we have a chapter book and a picture book. So yeah, we do lots of that, and we do corporate events and yeah, public library events as well. So yeah, and when we do the libraries, I talk as well. So we share a bit of both of our journey. So that's a really fun event for people to go along to when we do those. And yeah, and of course Gobi's there as well. So it's a whole family affair.
Oh yeah, Gobi's so famous, so famous. And so where should people, is it at dionleonard.com or do you have a Finding Gobi separate page if people are interested in that?
Yeah, if you go to findinggobi.com, we have an events page. So yeah, we list any upcoming events there. And yeah, if anyone wants to book their own event, they could reach out. There's an email address on there and information about speaking events as well. So, and a bit of a rough calendar as to where in the country we're going. We kind of, bounce around everywhere. So yeah, currently West Coast based, and yeah, then we'll be heading back to the East Coast at some point too.
I'll have to look up the Tahoe dates. Maybe those will overlap. You
Yeah, well, I'm
get in person.
trying to get a public event there. So yeah, we've
And
got
you and Dion, of course. It's like having a baby, right? Everyone's like, how's the baby? You're like, I'm fine, thanks. I'm
yeah,
tired.
yes, yes, I know, I get that.
Well, Lucia, thank you so much for your time today. Congratulations on completing your first 300-mile race. That's amazing. Good
Yeah,
luck in all of your upcoming races. I do hope we get to meet in person sometime soon. That'd be really fun.
yes. Well, good luck, and I hope you sign up to that 50K.
I know. Now I'm like, maybe I should sign up for the 100-miler. But I'm like you at the 3 a.m. time. That's when I really question things. I'm like, I value sleep so much more now that I'm a parent too. So that was the thing that I was like, you know what? Maybe just a day, maybe something that's not overnight would be good for my body right now.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that's a nice, refreshing, good, hard challenge, but you get to go to bed. Like
Yeah.
there's something to be said for that sometimes as well.
Eat a meal, take a shower, go to sleep. Oh, the bed never felt better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wishing you lots of rest and celebration in the days to come. And congratulations again. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for listening. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one big goal you felt is too big to conquer or to even get started on? What bolsters your confidence in your body, in yourself? And how has your relationship to activity, food, or your body evolved over time? Share your answers and what's been healing for you in the comments below on YouTube, or find me on Instagram at How We Can Heal. Don't forget to go to howwecanheal.com to sign up for email updates as well. You'll also find additional trainings, tons of helpful resources, and the full transcript of each and every show. If you love the show, please leave us a review on Apple, Spotify, Audible, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe and keep sharing the shows that you love the most with all your friends. Visit howwecanheal.com/podcast to share your thoughts and ideas for the show. I always love hearing from you. Before we wrap up for today, I want to be clear that this podcast isn't offering prescriptions. It's not advice, nor is it any kind of mental health treatment or diagnosis. Your decisions are in your hands, and I encourage you to consult with any healthcare professionals you may need to support you through your unique path of healing. Also, everyone's opinion here is their own, and opinions can change. Guests share their thoughts, not that of the hosts or sponsors. I'd like to thank our guests today, everyone who helps support this podcast directly and indirectly, especially Alex. Thanks for taking care of the babe and the fur babies while I record. Last but never least, I'd like to give a special shout out to my big brother, Matt, who passed away in 2002. He wrote this music, and it makes my heart so happy to share it with you here.